All right, good morning to any replayers. If you're a replayer, you can still participate. You can tap on the screen for hearts. You can follow me if you're not following me yet and you think you want more of this. And of course, you can find me. Hi, Chinese guy. You can find You can find me on Twitter and on Snapchat, especially if you have questions or want to engage in any conversation or you want to follow up or you just have your specific situation you want to discuss. I'm there, and I'm here for you, and I am here to bring math and money math to everybody. Hi, Kimmy. All right, hi. All right. Good morning to everybody joining live, and if you're new or if you're not new, sometimes I feel like, an introduction and a mission statement should be part of the Periscope opening. So my name is joannazarach. I do a daily money habits broadcast 7 days a week at 10 a.m. Central Time. Why did I do it, and why did I even start doing it? I saw Pat Flynn's t-shirt that says, teach what you know. And I decided to teach what I know. And I know about money and numbers and money math. And I'm a business consultant, I guess, turned a financial educator. So to me, numbers make sense. Math has always been something that comes easy to me, and I wanted to teach other people. And most people don't care about math except for when it comes to money. And so that's my avenue into it. And so today you're joining the Friday, and hi, Steno girl. You're joining my Friday broadcast. And so if you have been following for a while, I have a theme every day of the week. So Monday I talk about Mint. Tuesday, I talk about a task to do. Wednesday, we go through that task. Thursday, I just throw down a rant. Friday, I talk about fees. Saturday, I talk about your successes. And Sunday, talk about savoring what you've built. Hi, welcome. Welcome to my broadcast. It's an everyday broadcast trying to get people to develop better money habits. And I'm basically teaching people everything I know about money, answering financial questions. I don't think we have enough conversations about money amongst ourselves. I think we all kind of hide in our world of money. Sometimes people don't even have conversations between spouses. Like if you're married or in the family, people just get uncomfortable talking about money. And what happens is that you're not gaining any knowledge. Or even worse, you're perpetuating bad beliefs, bad habits, and bad behaviors. And basically what it leaves people with is just it leads to arguments. People get very unhappy about money. And, we need to get past that. I want people to really capitalize on the skills and the gifts that they have, but money stands in the way. And it doesn't have to. What's my email? You can probably find me on Twitter. Just find me on Twitter, and you can direct message me there, or Snapchat. I don't know that I give up my email. I probably have it on one of my things. You can probably find it, but I don't usually give up my email. I don't know. You know why? Because I'm so bad at responding on email. So find me on Twitter. It's actually going to be much more effective, or Snapchat, in terms of getting a response versus email. Email is so dead. Literally, I haven't even replied to my mom, who's emailed me twice last week, and I keep thinking, I got to get the email. It sucks my life. Are you on Facebook? I am on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. Same name, joannazarach. You can message me there. And I'm still not advanced enough to have set up pages. I know. Everything comes in time. Anyway, topic for today. I harp on this so much on Fridays because a lot of us are paying fees. So the thing is that, fees are the things that steal from your wealth building. And so some things are fees that are overt, right? So they're actually listed as a fee. And I want you guys to just start going through your financial life. This is why I talk about tracking so much, because when you track and things keep coming up in your Mint account or your bank statement, and you're paying a fee, what's an overt fee? That's interest rates, right? On your credit cards, actual late fees, fees on your bank, things that are, that you start accepting as part of like doing business or doing life that you shouldn't, because what happens is they just get incorporated into your vision of the world. And I'm trying to get people to not pay for things that don't bring them joy, right? So if you're paying all of these fees, and thank you, Anthony, for inviting followers. If you're paying all of these fees in your life, you just get used to it. By the way, one of our greatest traits as human beings is being like adapting to our circumstances. And people forget that they're paying fees, which is, by the way, how the financial industry or anybody makes money, right? Like, what do you love? What are the best, like, if you actually look at where technology, like where the big money's going, it's going to places that can extract money from transactions or from behaviors that are just like that are troublesome, right? They're fees. Financial industry is amazing at extracting fees from you guys and from me. I pay fees. We all pay fees. And the thing is just to find things that you value and get them at a lower cost or lower fees. That's why I'm a big proponent of not having any credit card debt. I think credit cards are a great tool. But if you're paying credit card interest, you are paying a huge fee that's going to work against you. And of course, late fees. That's why we talk about automation, right? There's all of these behavioral and mindset things that will prevent you from paying fees, just the overt ones. Now, there's a lot of hidden fees in our environments. One of the fees that I was thinking about, obviously we talk about the fee of inaction. The fact that people are always ending every article on financial advice with, please consult your tax professional or your investment advisor and blah, blah, blah. If people had the money to hire professional services that are very, very hard to attain, like there's not a lot of people in that. It's almost like if you were like, before you get out of bed, please consult a doctor. You don't want to get dizzy, right? And yeah, it's like you need to, that's created to make you feel like you can't make those decisions and you can't access those services. So the fee of inaction. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. The fee of inaction and the fee of fear, and people might try to make you feel incompetent. The kid, yeah, I love that. I will get to him. And he has 4 shares of, I think 4 shares of Coca-Cola, some Ford. Love that kid. He wants to build skyscrapers, and he's like 12. I love that kid, and he's very serious. And so. But the fees in your life, the other things are the fee of expectation, like what it is that you should be doing with your life and how you should spend your money. And I thought about it a lot in terms of like what we celebrate. So if you pay your credit card on time and you don't have a late fee or you've accomplished something financial, no one's throwing you a party. By the way, no one's celebrating that. Try posting that on Facebook, hey, I don't have that. I know that a guy who posted like he paid off his last loan and people were celebrating it. He was kind of talking about his journey. So I don't think it's impossible, but in general, people respond to bigger is better, right? Like the bigger house, the newer car. And we celebrate those things instead of saying, hey, like here's my net worth or I'm no longer dependent on credit cards. And I think it's because we don't value those successes. Hello from Russia. We don't value those successes, but also we just don't have a forum to talk about it and to celebrate it. So the fee of consumption, right? Like the fee of being a consumer versus an investor. And even if you are an investor, a lot of people I talk to, whether or not they're even investors, but they're like, oh, I had that financial advisor again, because you went to someone because you thought you had to do that instead of investigating and learning it yourself. So that's what I want, all those fees, like, so really examine your life for fees. Oh, and I was talking about sort of technology companies, like you need to know how all these technology companies make their money to understand why it's so important. Like Uber, how does Uber make their money? They collect a fee for every transaction that happens, right? Like they're in the flow of money. And by the way, that's brilliant. All of these models, like you have to respect that they got in the middle of the flow of money and circumvented something. So you have to like respect it and you have to understand it. When you're ordering from Instacart, right, you're paying fees. You're paying fees for things. And I say, only pay when it's a convenience for something else you don't have to have. Like if you don't own a car, having like services like Instacart is fantastic. But if you have 2 cars sitting in your garage and you're like getting someone else, you're not leveraging your capital assets, right? So I'm always like, leverage your capital assets or just don't have them, right? Like you have too many things. You're leveraging too many avenues. But the technology technology is making it easier to collect fees from people. Subscriptions, right? One of the fees you should examine is look at your recurring charges. They may be small. I'm guilty of it. I've talked about it. I have subscriptions to which I do not use. Some of them are like, oh, it's for business, like maybe I'll use it. But I do. I pay fees every month. I've finally canceled my fax line because, does anybody fax? And you know what they did? And I was really pissed, but I didn't have the energy to call them. They charged me for 6 months ahead when I canceled. They stole from me. Like, and I'm a little bit angry, but I'm not angry enough to get on a phone call. It was like, $40. And you know what? I had to cancel it. Like, I'd just rather not have it. But that's really creepy. Like, that creeps me out in terms of business model, where you're like, I'd like to cancel my service. They're like, no problem. You hang up, and then the charge is not for 1 more month. The charge is for 6 months. That's how I calculated it. It's pervasive. It's pervasive. Termination clauses, right? Always read the fine print. Termination clauses are sucky. Like, that there's subscriptions you can't get out of. Like, I think stamps.com is notorious for that. There are businesses that are notorious for signing you up and then never being able to cancel your subscriptions. So do examine your life. Yeah, I was shocked. The lady was like, oh, we'll just charge you for 1 more month. And I checked my mint, so I'm aware of that. And, by the way, it's like I haven't talked about it anywhere, but like eFax, I think it was, or fax to mail, whatever. They've consolidated. It was a small amount every month, but I was like, I'm sick of paying it. I'm going to cancel it. And then they did that. And I was like, wow, like, that's really bad. But businesses do that because they can. They do, right? Like the cancellation fees. Like, have you ever tried to cancel Dish TV? And they're like, oh, you're under contract or a cell phone contract, right? And so be always aware of those things, ahead of time. And sometimes, our emotions will play into it. We don't want to pay that termination fee, but you may be better off in the long run. And the next time, it's the lesson hard, like learning the hard lessons, and to thinking, next time before you go, okay, is it a 2-year contract or how do I cancel? Like, literally before every subscription I go on, I look and say, what's the cancellation policy? Is it 60 days ahead of time? Automatic renewals for network groups. Yeah, I'm not your mom, but I am somebody's mom. Network groups, they have like a 60-day, and if you miss that deadline and it comes on your credit card and you call, they're like, too late. That's happened to me. Good morning, how are you? That happened to me last year. Oh yes, I am married. I am mom, and I am married. And so I want to be your son. No application currently open. No spots open at the moment. And so so I called them. Thank you. I called them. This is before going to work out. I work out every morning because taking care of your health, people, is important. And but I called up this networking group because I was like, they charged me like $250. I want to get. No, sorry. And they were like, oh, sorry, you didn't meet the 60-day thing. And I was like, I want to cancel it for next year, right? Like when you're dealing with that situation where you have cancellation fees or cancellation clauses, make sure you just cancel for next year, right? Like, you have them on the phone, you have them, you have their attention, and they are in your file. Just cancel it right then and there. So that's the thing. Not old enough. Well, it's in my profile. If you joined, Joanna, it's a hello French person. So that's really the thing. On Fridays, we talk about fees. I just really want you guys to reflect about where your money's going and where it is that you're going to allocate it. And if it's going somewhere that you don't want it to go, right? Because that's the idea. It's like, take your money, figure out where you want it to go, and make sure it's going there. And there's a lot of times that your money gets diverted, right? It gets diverted away from your purposes. And therefore, you're not investing, right? You're not paying off your credit card debt because it's just kind of trickling out. And that's how fees are structured. And it's, by the way, on purpose. Fees are taking away from your purchasing and investing power on purpose. Why? Because fees are pure profit. Like, charging you fees is pure profit. This is like my passion of, I don't know, it's just noisy. you have, okay, you have, let's see, make me lose my train of thought. Um, yeah, so fees are pure profit. Yeah, there's always, so make sure you read the fine print, right? Before you subscribe, before you join, before you purchase anything that's recurring. Magazines used to do that, oh, like easy, just give us a credit card. If you're not sure about something, again, they don't accept checks these days as much, but checks used to protect you, like, because they couldn't automatically renew. So, examine all your spending, look at the types of fees and try to eliminate them. And again, it's hard. It'll take some action, but do them one by one. And some of it may be your behavior, right, or your habits, and change them and go after. Some of them are big fees. Some of them are fees that add up over time. Again, I want you guys to have access to capital. Yeah, that was a bit of a service, right? You paid for it, right? But it's like we often pay for things we don't feel comfortable and confident in, and maybe someone has the skill set to help you with it. At least there's one time, right? So again, there's definitely fees for some of these things where you have where you feel like, okay, I need help, and sometimes make sure you're clear when someone's offering to help you. Like, I always try to be like, okay, people say, oh, can you help? And I'm always like, look, this year I'm just doing market research. I'm happy to sit down with you. And by the way, I was like, I'm happy to sit down with anybody for an hour because I'm trying to teach what I know. And if someone's like, oh, I don't sell services, like I don't do things for people, right? Like, I'm not going to do your budget, I'm not going to do your taxes, I'm not interested in selling those services. I'm interested in empowering people to take control over their own financial lives and to give them the information they need and to give them the confidence, right? Give people confidence to take care of their finances, because I can tell you that if you start doing that, if you start paying attention, if you start making small changes, if you do things that feel scary because you've never done them before, like open an investment account or open an IRA or start a 401k, just by doing that, you will get further ahead. And so you're welcome. I'm doing. Actually, later today, I'm meeting with someone, again, somebody who found me on Facebook. And so I'm focused on Chicago for in-person meetings. And she said, well, I just don't understand where we are financially. Like, I just need some help. I'm like, I'll help you, because to me, it's like a little math equation. It's a solvable problem. And I gained all this knowledge, and I'm just trying to put it to use. And by the way, every time I do yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm here every day. And actually, I'm going to be on at 5 p.m. Central talking about Schedule C because I'm crazy like that. I try to make sure that my knowledge is not just up here. Like, I have nothing to gain by keeping it to myself and everything to gain by sharing it with people. One of the things that I did last night was go through this exercise. This lady was making us do this exercise of thinking about your childhood game or activity that you loved, the subject area you've geeked out over in the last 48 hours, and thinking of top role models and what you most admire about him or her. And for the top role models, I really love people who give. Like, who give of their knowledge and give of themselves. That's why I love Pat Flynn. If you guys need, figure out how to make money on the internet, he's just so open and transparent. He talks about real numbers, and he talks about real strategies and what it takes for people to set up their, smart passive income streams. And so I admire that, right? I really do. And I'm like, why don't I talk about what I know, which is money, right? Income making, the difference, making sure you invest, taxation. Hello. And so I'll be talking about Schedule C. So I'm going to wrap it up. But this afternoon, so I do Money Matters. Right now I'm talking about fees that people pay, like kind of money that goes out of your pocket and when you're not paying attention. And to make sure you identify those fees in your life and try to eliminate them, like literal fees. And then also things that you kind of happen to pay for that you're like, I don't know why I'm paying. I just keep paying for it. And you don't question it. Question a little bit more about where your money's going. All it is, so that you can free up some cash to invest, to build to move towards building wealth. And you everyone starts small. I started small, right? Like, I just started small 20 years ago. And so, I'll be doing, yeah, I'll be doing a Money Matters Periscope at 5 p.m. today. I hope. I have a client meeting, like a real client meeting, business clients. And I'm hoping that'll end by 4:30 so I can get home and do a Money Matters on Schedule C. What's Schedule C? It's in the U.S. tax code. If you are a business owner, solopreneur, or even a small business owner, you need to get familiar with the Schedule C because, again, taxation is one of the biggest things, and I geek out over taxes. Why? Because they're important. They are having an impact on your wealth building. I can tell you that. You just maybe haven't looked at it and haven't examined it. So we're going to look at Schedule C and why it's so important, and why it's so important to business owners or aspiring business owners. And we should all be aspiring business owners if we're not. Because if you have a side gig, that means you are a business owner. Like you may have a business. People always think of business owners as someone who makes all of their income from their business, like all or nothing. I think as we get into this like world where jobs aren't as secure, and as we just want to get more fulfilled, everyone should aim to have a business or 2 or 5, right? And all a business is when you're making a revenue that exceeds your costs, right? And it could be making $10 or $100 or $500 and $5,000, and all of a sudden tax matters. Taxation matters, and knowing how the tax code works, and especially about the Schedule C, what are expenses that you can count against that revenue, because that's one of the magical things about having a business is that you have all these expenses. So we're going to cover Schedule C at 5 p.m. Central Time today on Money Matters. And the only other announcement is if you're in the Midwest area, I do want to promote some stuff. On April 7th and 8th in Normal, Illinois, I've never been, I'm actually one of the speakers. I'm going to talk about Periscope. So you're going to see me doing a Periscope demo on April 7th. So if you're all interested in social media for business, let me see if I can, it's this conference, April 7th. Check it out. It's at Midwest. Maybe I can I get a focus? There you go. At midwest.com. Look at that. I've never been to this conference, so I don't know. It's a Midwest social media conference, April 7th and 8th. It's in Normal, Illinois. But you know what? I raised my hand and I was like, I love Periscope and I think live streaming is part of the future. And they were like, hey, come speak at our conference. Because by the way, if you're really passionate something and committed to something, go ahead and raise your hand and share it with others, right? Most people don't use live streaming. No, that's the conference I'm speaking at in a couple weeks. A couple of weeks. Because you can raise your hand and you can teach others and share your passion. And I think like live streaming is the way of the future. I don't know if you guys saw YouTube, I think is supposed to come up with a live streaming product as well. Facebook Live, right? We all love this engagement and this yeah, so if you're looking at, to register, you can check it out. There's a lot of speakers. It's 2 days. I think it's like 6 hours each day. So I'll be at it. It'll be my first time attending, and I'm attending as a speaker. Why? Because I was like, hey, I love Periscope, but I think I want to talk about live streaming. I love public speaking, of course, as I'm in front of the video, but I love a live audience, and Periscope allows me to kind of get a little bit of both worlds. Yeah, live streaming YouTube, right? Okay. So, right, like it's like we are creating more content on video every day than used to be existing. Yeah, sometimes connection problems. So anyhow, wrapping it up. If you're joined at 5 p.m. today, if you want to learn more about Schedule C, watch any replays. By the way, I have a catch.me account. So if you're like, oh, I really want to learn more, that way you can see what types of topics I talk about. You can just kind of scroll through the titles on catch.me/joannazarach. Try to be consistent across all social media. And again, and you have questions about your own situation, I want to hit me up. Twitter, Snapchat. I'm best at those. Like literally, I'm abandoning email except for like the necessary evils of checking it and replying to people who are not on other media. But I'm really trying to push people towards the other modes of communication. I feel like I'm more accessible, especially Snapchat. I'm kind of loving it. So thank you guys for your time and your engagement and the hearts and encouragement. And I'll be here tonight and tomorrow and every day after. Bye.